Hi, I'm Ali and a warm welcome to the Ceramic Repair Studio. So in today's video I have a piece of Staffordshire pottery, and as you can see it's broken in two pieces. We also have a little extra piece to squeeze in as well. So we're going to put it back together again. So let's get going. Right, so here we have our pieces here. Now what I like to use is Acrylic glue, and it's a slow curing glue, so there's plenty of what I call wiggle time to move things around to let it set. I'm also using some Scotch tape rather than sellotape, just because it doesn't leave such a gluey residue at the end when you take it back off. And I also collect bottle tops to mix in the glue. I've also got just a cotton bud here and some water and a cocktail stick to apply the glue. Now you don't have to, but I do have some titanium dioxide powder, which actually stops the glue from going yellow over a period of time. Not necessary, but I'd just like to use a little bit of this. Right, so what we're going to do first, because it's a piece of pottery and it's very porous, I'm actually going to apply just a little bit of water to the edges here, the broken edges first, before I apply the glue. Not necessary, but I tend to do this on quite porous biscuitware and pottery. So I've got my water here, and I'm just taking the cotton bud here and just very lightly, you don't need to saturate it, just very lightly, just dab on the water. And I do find this really helps the glue adhere. And I just dab that on, and then just a bit on the other side, and it almost dries as soon as you put it on, but I do find it helps. So just very lightly, just all along. So once we've done that, we're then going to mix up the glue. Now I've got my pot here. As I say, I always collect bottle tops, always useful and handy. And with the Acrylic, you just want to mix half of one part and half of the other. So just apply just little bits there. Always close the lid straight away. And then on the other part. Again, just a little bit, whoops. So we've got equal quantities. Right, so with the cocktail stick here, we're now going to mix up, and you'll know when it's combined because it will go a kind of cloudy colour. So when you first put in the Acrylic, they're both slightly different tones, and you want it really well combined. As you can see, it's starting to go slightly cloudy. And this is the point where I just like to add just a little bit of the titanium powder. Obviously, you know, it's not something you really have to use, but I just like to use just a little bit. If you do use a bit of this type of powder, you only need a little bit of the powder in there. If you apply too much into the glue, it actually makes the glue not set so well, so it does compromise the glue. So again, just give it a good mix round. Now obviously if you live in a warmer country, or if you're in a very warm room, the glue will be a lot thinner, whereas if it's slightly colder, you'll find that the glue, a bit like here on a winter's England day, is actually slightly thicker. So once that's well combined, we're then going to take our piece and we're just going to add the glue to one side. Now you just want to use one side. If you apply glue on both sides, say this side for example, and also this, the glue will want to pull apart. So you only want to do one side. So we're going to work on this part here on the base. So just apply just a tiny bit of the glue. We want to make sure every part of it is covered. Now you don't want to be going too thick, otherwise you're going to end up with surplus glue coming all over the area and working outwards, but you don't want it too thin either. So just working all the way along. Now Staffordshire is notorious for breaking. It's quite delicate, tends to chip off a lot, sort of particularly being pottery. And they were quite crudely made and painted in the time, usually by home workers a lot of the time. So you tend to find Staffordshire pottery is always breaking, and there's always lots of repairs to do on them. Right, so we're working our way all the way along with the cocktail stick. Just making sure it's all done. You always want to make sure that you're in a well ventilated room when you are applying any glue also. So maybe windows are open, or if you're lucky enough to be outside, even better. So once we've done that, we're just going to place our piece on the top here. And it's not going to be too tight a fit because where it's been chipped so much. Oh, that seems to slot in there. So we'll slot that in, pressing down nice and firmly. And at this point, if there's any surplus glue coming out, if you just take a piece of kitchen roll with a little bit of dampness to it, you can always press down and just wipe off any surplus glue which comes out all along the area, pressing down gently. And you want to make sure that the item is completely dried before we apply the Scotch tape. So just double checking, pressing down, getting it nice and tight. As you can see, it also has some hairline cracks from its breakage. Right, so once we've done that, we want to take our Scotch tape here, and if you just take a tiny little bit, and then if you fold one part over, it will be really easy when it comes to taking apart and actually moving. If you end up with not doing that, you could end up with the whole the tape on there, trying to chip it off with your nail, trying to release it. So by doing this, it's so much easier. So if we can take, for instance, the back, so we can hold down and place. You hold on to one side, and then you want to pull down to make it as tight as possible, so you're getting a really good tight fit. And again, we do a piece here. Again, taking a piece and then just folding it. Now I can see here she has a little bit of gilding here, a bit of gold gilding, so you want to avoid that, otherwise that will come off with the Scotch tape. So if you have anything gilded, try to avoid the gilded part. Again, placing, holding down, pulling down, and then just applying. And we'll do it one more time on this area where we do have our other little chip which is just filled in. So again, placing, taking our tape, taking our tape here, placing on the arm part, pulling down, and just putting onto there. Now this will take around 24 to 48 hours for it to dry. Obviously, the longer you leave it, the better it is. And then we can take off the tape here. So I hope you enjoyed this video today and found it useful. If you haven't subscribed before, please consider subscribing, and also a thumbs up if you found it useful. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, bye.